Welcome to Friday Morning Dharma for January 12th. Let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. Using whichever method you find most effective, please allow both your physical body and your mind to start to settle and to rest, to become quiet and still. And when you're ready, in your own time, please go ahead and gently transition into meditation on the inner body. Observe silently in stillness. On the topic of stillness, there is no more qualified example than the mountain in wintertime. Day after day, year after year, eon after eon, the mountain simply observes silently. Snow may fall on the mountain, accumulate, and then disappear. A nearby river may freeze over and then thaw. Shadows may appear on the surface of the mountain, created by clouds floating overhead. The mountain simply observes silently in a place of stillness. No praise, no blame, no hope, no fear, no speculation, no expectation. Please know that the mountain does not aspire to be still. It doesn't attempt to be still. It doesn't practice stillness. It simply is stillness. Be stillness as you silently observe sensations within your own body mountain. Now, please gently redirect your awareness. Become aware again of this entity that we have agreed to label physical body, and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of physical body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room that you're occupying. Deeper and deeper breaths, and become aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of nearby mountains, of nearby countries, of nearby continents, of nearby planets. We dedicate all of the merit, all of the positive energy from this morning's meditation and Dharma talk to world peace. May all beings without exception come to enjoy a state of complete, perfect fearlessness. May all beings without exception be completely free from all forms of emotional and physical suffering. May all beings without exception be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Welcome back, friends. So we have been going through, as most of you know, we have been going through the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. And presently we are on the second of the Four Noble Truths. You should abandon origins. And just to remind everybody, it's not explicitly stated in the presentation of the Four Noble Truths, and I think it's might be helpful and appropriate to include just a short preamble. First Noble Truth: if you want to be free from suffering, you should know suffering. The Second Noble Truth: if you want to be free from suffering, you should abandon origins. You should abandon the origins of suffering. And the origins of suffering, as we've been discussing, are the delusions, confused, troubled states of mind that are the real origins of our suffering, not external conditions, although those can have something to do with it. The true origins of suffering are deluded states of mind, confused, troubled, painful states of mind. The three root delusions are anger, desirous attachment, and ignorance. And with regard to self-grasping ignorance, grasping at phenomena as though it has true inherent existence, and even independent existence, that it exists independently of all other phenomena. The entity that we grasp at most strongly is our sense of self, the me or the I. Those terms are all interchangeable and synonymous: sense of self, the I, the me. we grasp at as existing so strongly. We grasp at it more strongly than anything else in our lives. And it is the basis. Self-grasping at a sense of self, at a me, is the phenomenon onto which we cling and grasp at most strongly. It is, and it is the most difficult to release, the most difficult to overcome. But the carrot at the end of the trail is, if we can awaken to the illusion of self, if we can awaken to the emptiness of our self, sense of self, then everything ends, all suffering ends, all of our problems, all of our difficulties, all of our pain, everything. And it's kind of one of those cruel ironies that it is the magic bullet, if you will, awakening to the emptiness of self, and it's the most difficult one to awaken to. So we've talked a fair amount about emptiness, about wisdom realizing emptiness as being the antidote to all delusions, including self-grasping ignorance. There's another tool in the tool chest that we can use that we have talked about before. It has to do what in the Tibetan presentation of the Dharma is called Lojong, training the mind. And it is one of those terms that really does not translate well. My teacher refers to it as being self-cherishing, cherishing ourselves as being most important, sometimes the only important thing, and we obsess over cherishing ourselves to the exclusion of everyone else. The term self-cherishing has always been problematic for me. I mean, I learned about this notion of self-cherishing 25 years ago when I first received my first set of teachings. And I didn't like the label. And as a result, it was difficult for me to kind of really embrace the teachings, embrace and practice the teachings. Just as everyone deserves cherishing love, just as everyone deserves to be cherished, so do each of us individually. So it might sound, I don't know, a little bit off for me to say, that I don't like my teacher's use of that expression. And it's the case, right? And it's not just him, like everyone throughout this lineage uses the term self-cherishing in a negative context and a basis for all of our problems. But the thing is, up until recently, there hasn't been really a better alternative that I could come up with. There's self-centeredness, and there is selfish. And, those terms are also so loaded in our Western society. I mean, to be called selfish or self-centered, even though it might be true, it's like nobody likes to hear that. If you stop being self-centered and selfish, then you're going to become a happier person. It's like, who are you calling selfish? It might be true, but it's a triggering term. So a friend of mine, and I know I spend a lot of time talking about terms. We talk a lot about terms and labels, and the labels aren't the thing. But if we have a problem with the label, then sometimes we might not be able to get past the label and won't hear kind of the teachings that underlie the label. So a friend of mine was reading a book recently, and she shared with me this term called self-referential. Self-referential, right? a decidedly unspiritual sounding term, I know, and it kind of not kind of, it completely works for me. Self-referential, as in our sense of self is the reference point or the frame of reference for everything in our world, right? That's what the Lojong teachings are pointing to. The problems that arise when our sense of self is the reference point, the touch point, the frame of reference for everything in our lives and everything in our world, to the exclusion of everyone else. If not being self-referential, what is a better alternative? Being other referential, yeah, making others the reference point of what we do and what our priorities are and what our concerns are. Because, I'm only one, whereas others are countless. So it just makes more sense, just purely on numbers, for me to make others the reference, or maybe say more of a reference starting out, more of a reference point for what's important, what matters, what needs are important. And we can really just kind of just examine our thoughts as we go through our daily lives. And by the way, this is, the only way to awaken to the illusion of self and other is through meditation, meditating on the emptiness of self. But this practice of self-referentialness, or being aware of it, is a really good practice during the meditation break, right? We can sort of examine during the meditation break what going on in the world gets our attention, and how do we connect with various things going on in the world, right? How about, for example, weather? Yeah, weather. I think we all kind of keep an ear open for what's happening weather-wise in other parts of the country. Maybe tornadoes in the south, or, snowstorms in the Rocky Mountain or in the Midwest, and we'll, oh, there's going to be bitter cold and blizzard conditions in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And, we might be mildly amused by that initially, but there's kind of this underlying thought, well, I don't live there. I don't live in Minnesota or Wisconsin. So, on to the next subject, you know. Here in Southwest New Mexico, just had a snowstorm, had a week of snowy weather. The forecast is coming, and we think, oh, really cold, lots of snow, lots of wind. Oh, this stands to affect me more directly. So I'm going to be more invested in what this is all about. But there's another part, that, oh, well, I have a warm place to live, and I have warm clothes, and I have a snow shovel. So, I'm good. I'm good with this snow coming. And we don't really think too much about others, because our connection with weather-related matters has to do with self and me. Uh, I lived in Denver for a lot of years. I was raised in Denver. Denver's my hometown. And, when there was a forecast coming that a lot of snow was coming, and we got those forecasts a lot in Denver, not many times did I have the thought, my thought was, oh, good, I get to go skiing. There's going to be really good skiing, really good fresh powder. When I was a young man, that was a thought that I frequently had. Men and women who had to get up in the middle of the night to drive a snow plow, like to plow the roads so that people could get to work in the morning and could have places to park their cars when they went shopping. that wasn't my frame of reference. No. And so the Lojong teachings, this notion of self-referential, invites us to look at others, look at other situations, kind of direct the spotlight away from self toward others. And we can apply it to everything: political developments, weather, economic developments, traffic, everything. Just watch your mind. Just watch your mind during the meditation break and see, when you're sort of observing what's happening, crime taking place, crime. Oh, I live in a safe neighborhood, so that doesn't really apply to me. I'm tangentially interested in it, but I live in a safe neighborhood, so on to the next subject. Just check to what degree the activities or the developments in the world get your attention insofar as they relate to you. And just notice that. And then maybe over time, gradually, our frame of reference can move from self to other, go from self-referential to other referential. And that's a way for us to chip away at our sense of self. This thing, this entity that's the source of all of our problems, all of our suffering, the origin that's to be abandoned, an inherently existing self. Yeah, such a good, valuable practice. Okay, you guys, 9:02. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.